Okay, this is day 5 of the distance learning packet in the math section. Again, we're starting off with functions, and here we have a bike race. So we have two people, Antonio and Juan, and they're in a 4-mile bike race. The graph shows their journey along that course. So let's just take a look at this graph. So again, non-linear, right? It's not straight lines. So this is a lot like our qualitative graphs that we've done. And just noticing a few things, we have the distance in miles and the minutes here. So it said the bike race is 4 miles. Okay, so let's think about that. So 4 miles is here. Okay, so that's where we end the race. So this point, where each of those curves stop, will tell us the time that each of them took to finish that 4 miles. Okay, so there's that. So let's look at the green curve. So it looks like it's a little bit steeper, right? So steepness for this case means, think about slope, rise over run, so miles per minute. So that's like speed, right? Miles per hour. So a little bit faster, and then stays actually at the same miles. So what happens here? So what does this mean? Right? So he stops and waits a little bit. So think of tortoise and the hare, right? The hare speeds up and then pauses, takes a nap, and then cruises along, while the tortoise, the black curve, kind of just trucks along as best he can. So with no breaks. All right. So anyway, let's answer these two questions here. First one is, who wins the race and how do we know? Okay, so again, 4 miles, we made a dotted line, and then Juan's time is this point, so let's follow it down. So he finished the race at, what would that be? 12, 13, and that's 14, so 13 minutes. So I'm just going to write that. Juan finished in 13 minutes. And Antonio, let's see, he ends up here. Follow it down, it's 15. Okay. Finished. And this is actually the second part. How do you know? Finished in 15 minutes. So this is how we know, right? We see from the graph that Juan finished in 13, Antonio finished in 15. So Juan won the race. Because he finished quicker, right? So you want a slower, or you want a faster time, a smaller number, meaning he finished quicker. Okay, part B. Imagine you're watching the race, so you're like a sports announcer, and you have to describe what's happening. So we kind of talked about this. There's some paper here. You can write out your story. So I would do something like, make it exciting, like out of the gate, Antonio races off and starts to get tired, so he stops to take a break while Juan just keeps cruising along, passes him up at the 2-mile mark and continues along. Antonio just couldn't catch up because he was still tired, and Juan wins the race. So something like that. So just imagine how this goes. Think of movies you've seen, horse racing, even, Tour de France, like you've seen different races and things online, dog races, anything that's similar you can kind of draw from. So I'm going to leave that description up to you. Okay, so next we have a rule of 4. This time we're given a graph. So we've given expressions, tables, and now we have a graph. So I'm going to help you with the equation and the slope and y-intercept. Then I'm going to leave the rest up to you. So the graph shows a line, and it has 2 points labeled. So this 6 right here, okay, let's think about what that is. So here's our y-axis, right? and the line is crossing the y-axis, so that's our y-intercept, so that is 6. And then our slope, so we need 2 points. And then we can figure out the rise and the run. All right, so we go from 0 up. So here's, look at the numbers, don't count the boxes. So 2, 4, 6, so up 6. Okay, slope 6 over. So it's rise over run. So rise is 6. Run, so here's -3, so there's 1, 2, 3. And then we simplify. So 6 over 3 is 2. Okay, in our equation, same as always, mx plus b, y equals m, which is 2x plus 6. So there's our equation. And again, how can we check? Well, we are given points. Okay, we have ordered pairs, so this is at 0, 6, so we can substitute 0 in for x. If we do that, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 6 is 6. Or we could try this one, -3, 0. Just to make sure our equation works. And then table, I'm not going to do it for you this time, but it's just like we've done before. We have an equation, we choose numbers for x. I mean, here's 2 points given, -3, 0 and 0, 6. You can actually look at the graph and find other ones. Here's one, -2, 2. Right, any place that the line crosses the grid exactly, you can use those points. Or you can just substitute whatever number you choose in for x. Okay. So here we have 2 different functions, and we're just asked to compare them. So it's basically comparing 2 different forms of functions. So one, we have, just like a rule of 4, we can compare graphs and tables, tables and equations, equations and descriptions, descriptions and graphs. So this is what we're doing, just taking piece by piece. So the first problem, we have something about chocolate, something about cold drinks, and then we need to figure out which one of these has a negative slope. So which one is decreasing? That's all we care about. Which one has a negative slope? So we don't have to graph it necessarily. We don't have to do anything extra, just which one is decreasing. Okay, so Jacob has 50 chocolates. He gives away 4 per week. So you can see that it's subtracting, right? So my first guess is function number 1. Function number 1, because it's decreasing. All right, well, let's just double check. Here we go. Ava, oh, that's fun. That's my daughter's name. Has 10 cold drinks at the start of the day. She purchases, so she gets 2 per day for the shopkeeper. Write a rule, and it's given to us. So look at this. Okay, so which number here tells us the slope? It's the one in front of the variable, so it is a positive 2. Okay, so it's increasing, right? So this is function number 1. It has a negative slope. All right. This one, we're asked to determine which one has a greater rate of change, so a bigger number. Rate of change. Okay, rate of change. What does that mean? Rate of change. That's the slope, or m. Okay, look at these equations. Y equals, let's compare to this, mx plus b. Right, this is the number we care about right here. So m. Which one is m? Let's just underline them. 2 and 6. Which one has the bigger number, right? Greater rate of change. That's function 2. So number 2. Okay, the last one. Determine which one has a negative slope. Okay, so negative slope. We have equations for both. So it doesn't really matter what the description is telling us, but let's just read it anyway. So we have 30 toys at the beginning of the day, sold 6. So the number that they have is decreasing. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm thinking it's going to be function number 1 because of that. Let's see, function 2, Daniel has 20 balloons. He blows up 5 per day. How many balloons does I would assume that's being blown up. So the equation shows us that it's adding 5 each day. So function 1, we're selling, we're decreasing. So that's our answer, number 1. Okay, and here we have back to exponents. So we're just asked to simplify. Okay, so looking at this, there's definitely things we can simplify. So I'm just going to rewrite it. Okay, so 7z squared time. This is all multiplied. So everything is being multiplied, right? There are little multiplication symbols in all of these. 5z to the 4th, d to the 3rd, and then d to the 8th. Okay, so just like in class, I'm going to rearrange this. So it's multiplication, so we have commutative property. We can rearrange, put all the similar bases together, the numbers together, the z's together, the d's together. So numbers first, so 7 times 5. I'm actually writing out the multiplication. And then times, usually in alphabetical order, so d to the 3rd times d to the 8th times z to the 2nd times z to the 4th. Okay, so 7 times 5 is just a number, so it's 35. And then the base of d and base of z. Okay, so we are multiplying powers. Okay, do you remember what we do with the exponents? Multiply powers, we add the exponents, so 3 plus 8, 3 plus 8, so 3 plus 8. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. All right, and then for z, we have 2 and 4, so 2 plus 4. Okay, so let's just finally simplify this. 35, d to the 11th, z to the 6th. And that's it. That's simplified, and we're done. Okay, and that is the end of day 5.